Park here in Michigan. We've got a beautiful day for BMX racing. Temperatures, I would guess, would be about 77 or 78. Tony, does that sound close?
Just right underneath 80. It's a perfect day. Got a few clouds, lots of green grass, lots of blue sky, slight breeze, perfect weather.
We did have a heat wave earlier this week and a lot of humidity, but today it just couldn't be better racing conditions all the way around. We'll be watering down our track a little bit later. We're in our preliminary motos right now, and a lot of hot action ahead of us still.
Yeah, the hot action ahead of us, but I understand you had a little chance to act like your own little BMX kid there this morning with a breakfast and a few balloon rides. We'll take a look at that and see what kind of fun you had this morning acting like a youngster with all those other BMX kids.
North of Chicago. 70 miles north of Chicago.
You know, the rest of the campgrounds here at Waterford Oaks, the early bird's catching the worm, but right in these parts, the early bird's catching some post honeycomb and some juice and a pretty good breakfast now, guys. It's just part of the activities that goes on before the BMX race and a lot of the fun that goes on here at the Waterford Oaks parks and recreation facilities. We got a balloon ride this morning, so after you finish your breakfast, you can kind of settle things by going sky high in that thing. I'll be doing that a little bit later on. And also this wave pool back here that's got incredible ocean-like waves that are built right in the center of Michigan, right here at Waterford Oaks. But if you really want to get the edge on your competition and get that little hole shot out of your heat, you got to have a good breakfast. And that's how we're starting the day here at Waterford Oaks.
Thanks a lot, D. David. You didn't even bring me a post-honeycomb headband. You didn't bring me any cereal, not a roll, not a muffin, not a thing. You ate it all.
What do they say, Tony? You're only as good as your last meal or something like that?
Something like that. You had a pretty good meal there. Looks like a great time you had.
You've been here before, and I haven't. What is that water pool like with those waves? That looks like a lot of fun.
I ventured into the wave pool a little bit earlier this week. It creates about 3 to 4 foot waves. The hot tip is to get a raft and just sort of float around on the middle of it. But the real exciting portion of this, they do have a water slide. A dual water slide comes cascading down. The thing must be 100, 150 feet long, and you just get cooking right out of that thing into a swimming pool. It's a lot of fun.
Incredible facilities here at Waterford Oaks. The county park not only has this BMX track in the middle of these beautiful trees and campgrounds, but it's got enough other fun activities to keep the whole family busy, even me busy.
Yeah, you seem to be keeping mighty busy.
Let's get back to the pro racers here and maybe review a little bit to our first stop on the Super Circuit, which was in Miami about a month ago for the very opening of the ESPN BMX Pro Spectacular. Why don't we review how those pros finished up down in Miami?
After one round in the BMX Pro Spectacular, Brian Patterson from Patterson Racing leading with 80 points. Brian is setting the pace for the entire Pro Spectacular series. Scott Clark riding for Murray in second with 70 points. In third place, Greg Grubbs riding for Jag BMX with 60 points. Fourth place, Eric Roop riding for Profile. Eric turned in an excellent ride in Miami, 50 points for fourth place. In fifth place, teammate and brother of Brian Patterson, the series leader, Brent Patterson, 40 points sitting in fifth place. In sixth place, Toby Henderson, riding for the Hutch team. Toby had a little bit of bad luck in Miami. He should come on strong much later in the season. In seventh place, Anthony Sewell, Murray teammate of Scott Clark, who's holding down the second position. Anthony currently in seventh place with 20 points. And bringing up the rear in Miami, Stu Thompson with 10 points, riding for Redline. You can't count Stu out anywhere. He'll be back in plenty of the races to come. It's also interesting to try and find out exactly how the riders do advance to that final round so that they can take part and earn the points for the entire series. There are 3 basic levels that you have to advance from. The first level is the moto level. Each of the pro classes will run 3 motos. They'll take the top 4 from each division of those, move them into the semis, where they will run 2 semis. They'll take the top 4 from each of those divisions, making a total of 8 who will run a 3-moto main, going all the way down for the $2,500 first prize and those valuable points that they'll carry over to the next racing season. Also an interesting feature we have for you here, we have the top 10 picks from the 2 top BMX magazines. D. David is standing by right now with Bob Osborne of BMX Action, so let's go over and see what Bob has to say about the winners for today's race.
Thanks a lot, Tony. I am talking to Bob Osborne here, the publisher, editor, and the hardest-working reporter on the staff of BMX Action. We've got the top 10 for BMX Action. We're going to start, Bob, with the top 5. And interesting to note is you have Eddie King of Diamondback as number 1 this week here at Waterford Oaks. Is in the number 1 slot, Brian Patterson, who won the Miami race. You have a number 5. Why is that?
Okay, let's do Eddie first, David. Okay, last ESPN race, Eddie just turned full pro. Nobody even knew he was going to race pro at that race. And he came out, this is a little guy. Eddie's about 5'6", something like that. He's built like a brick outhouse. But this was his first time out in full pro, and what he did all weekend was he had hole shot everybody. He was flying out of the gate, totally pumped, but he was over his head. And he'd get out of the gate, get through the first turn, and then all the long timers, the professionals, the big guys, would eat him up, and he'd end up tumbling out the back of the pack.
So what you're saying is Eddie's got all of his jitters out, his stage fright, his opening night jitters are over. He's here for his second race, the second stop on the Super Circuit, and he's ready to go.
He's worked it out. I was talking to him a little while ago, and he's riding just a hair under his head. He has worked it out. He's got it dialed in. He knows what he's doing now, and he is still pumped, but he has control of it, and he's looking good.
Why do you have the first place winner from the first stop on the Spectacular in Miami? Why is he now, and why do you list him as fifth, Brian Patterson?
Okay, law of averages. You just can't do it at this level of competition with these pros. You must figure every single factor. You must figure wind direction. Was it a good movie they saw last night? You figure everything. Well, law of averages would state that Brian would be down this time. His brother now, on the other hand, Brent, if you notice, is number 2.
Right, you've got Brent listed as number 2, Scott Clark in the 3rd spot, and Stu Thompson, who finished 8th last time. You have a number 4 spot. Let's move on to the next 5, the 6th through 10th. You have Greg Grubbs in 6th. You have Eric Roop in 7th. Mike Miranda in 8th. Tommy Brackens in 9th. And Harry Larry in 10th. Tommy Brackens we didn't see in Miami at all.
Brackens, okay, there's about 3 or 4 guys that could win this. Tommy is one of them. He's down towards the bottom because this is his first ESPN race, but this is his kind of track. Tommy doesn't like jumps. He doesn't like turns. He likes big, long, power tracks, and that's what this is, and he'll be flying today. He will. He probably should have rated higher, but it gets awful crowded up here.
Okay, we've got your top 10 picks here, Bob. Greg Hill, one of the all-time famous pros, is not even in your top 10 for Waterford Oaks. Why isn't Greg Hill even in your top 10?
Okay, now Greg is either going to be...
We're really painting this guy in a corner here.
Greg is going to be either totally out of it or he's going to blow everybody's drawers off today, one or the other. He got married last weekend. Spent the whole week in Palm Springs. His head has to be so scrambled this week. This is 1 week ago he got married, you know.
Okay.
And like I said, when you get into this level of competition here on this gate, you figure everything.
All right.
If you got married last week, you're going to be off.
Well, here's our predictor and on-the-track psychiatrist, Bob Osborne, giving us the BMX Action top 10s. Now let's go back to Tony Jordan. And Tony, why don't you give us BMX Plus's top 10? Tony?
Thank you, David.
Thank you, David. We've got it right here. BMX Plus tending to go a little bit more with the favorites. They're going in first position with Brian Patterson, who was the winner of the Miami event. Greg Hill, not even listed on BMX Action's top 10. They put him in second. They think Greg's going to come back and do real well here. Greg had a big problem in Miami, fell down in his semi, hurt his knee a little bit. He's going to be back for good racing today. Stu Thompson, always a favorite. Even though he finished 8th in Miami, they've got him picked 3rd place here. Stu should really improve with the standings today. 4th place, Mike Miranda. 5th place, Brent Patterson, who also finished 5th at Miami. Moving on to the 6th through 10th, Tommy Brackens, who didn't attend in Miami, but both magazines have picked him in the top 10 to finish really well today here at Waterford Oaks. Scott Clark, 2nd place finisher from Miami, listed in 7th. Harry Leary, Jeff Ruminer. Surprisingly enough, Eddie King, BMX Plus has listed Eddie King in the number 10 position. BMX Action really believes that Eddie King, only a month in the top A Pro category, is really going to pull one out of the hat here today. BMX Plus disagrees. Back to D. David. I think he's rounded up some of the pro riders, get some opinions from not only the editors of the magazines, but we'll go to D. David for some pro rider interviews.
Some of those pros that were on the top 10 picks for both of the magazines and the pros that did well in Miami are here with me now, and I'm going to get a couple feedback from these guys on how they like the track and how they feel about their racing. First off is Eddie King. Eddie, come on over here. Eddie's with the Diamondback team. Eddie, you were a B Pro for a month, and then you turned as an A Pro just for the BMX Pro Spectacular Series. How do you feel about your decision about turning A Pro for the Super Circuit?
Well, I feel that when I turned to an A Pro, I felt that I was riding, I am riding with the best riders in the world right now. And, I feel that I'm getting a lot of experience racing with these guys. They're not that squirrely at all. They're really fun to ride with. They're totally competitive and a good bunch of guys right now compared to the other riders I've been racing with.
Do you feel like your racing is maturing to the point where you can really compete with these guys?
Probably hasn't matured yet. But I can race with these guys, I'll be good maybe in a few years right now. I still got to mature, definitely.
All right, Eddie, thanks very much. Our next rider up is the guy that won the Miami race, Brian Patterson. Brian, the magazines don't favor you here at Waterford, but I've seen you in practice. You seem like you're holding your own. How do you like the track here, and do you have any pressure winning the first race?
The track is in good condition. As for the magazines to pick, they didn't pick me at the last one either, so I guess I'll just have to prove them wrong again.
How about the course here, the track here at Waterford Oaks? Do you like the track? Is it fast?
Oh yeah, this is one of the best tracks in the country. Nice layout. They have good facilities all around.
All right, well, thanks a lot and good luck. I bet you're going to hope that you can do well today so you can stay in your #1 position.
Oh yeah, of course.
All right, take care. Good luck to you. After Brian Patterson, stomping Stu Thompson, still the one on the back of his trunk. Stu, you're not that much taller than me, are you?
No, he's standing down here.
Stu, how do you feel coming into Waterford Oaks in Miami? You finished 8th, which was at least in the main. You're in the money here, and you're probably trying to find your way up to the top 5 if you can. What's your strategy for today?
Well, I felt really good in Miami, and I had a few bad breaks, and it went for the worst of me. This time I'm coming back, clean head. That race is in the past. I got a new one here. I'll do the best I can. As long as I qualify for all the main events, I'm in the running. Just do the best I can.
Stu, you're one of the oldest pros in the business. Do you feel like do you feel your age yet?
No, not at all. I keep ahead of the age. Just work out and stay young.
All right, well, that's good. You still look young and great, guy. Take care. Thanks a lot. Good luck with today's racing. We're going to be going for just a real quick break here, and we'll be coming back to a lot more racing action with these pros and the other top experts around the country. So stick around. We've got a lot of excitement still to come.
Formula One, Indy, NASCAR, Can-Am. Nobody covers the world of racing like Auto Week. Auto Week tells you what really happened on the track and behind the scenes every week. Auto Week gives you the fastest, most accurate racing coverage each week, only days after the checkered flag drops. And Auto Week gives you a whole lot more than just racing coverage. Driving impressions put you behind the wheel of every interesting new car. Feature articles cover everything from Econobox to Can-Am Racer, miniatures, tips on maintenance and repair, collector cars, even motorcycles. Now get a special 30-week trial subscription to Auto Week. 30 issues at the basic price of just $13.20. You save $24 over the newsstand price. Act now. This offer is limited. Call 1-800-544-1000. Operators are standing by. That's 1-800-544-1000. Don't put it off. Start Auto Week racing to you today.
When you put on a pair of Jocks Jag shoes from Tom McCann and put them on the pedal, you notice one very important thing. They stay on the pedal. Jocks Jag, traction for the action. Only at Tom McCann.
New strawberry honeycomb's gonna go over big.
Strawberry honeycomb, here it comes.
Wow!
Big strawberry taste, big honeycomb fun.
Giant strawberry! What's going on?
Big strawberry news from Honeycomb. Natural strawberry flavor.
Strawberry!
Awesome crunch.
Wow, big strawberry taste, big honeycomb fun.
New strawberry honeycomb cereal, part of this nutritious breakfast.
Welcome back to Waterford Oaks BMX Park. D. David Moore along with Tony Jordan. And Tony, we're going to get into some heavy traffic here with our very first semi-main for the A Pro category. Starting in lane #1 is #1 Stu Thompson on the red line team. Stomping Stu. On the back of his pants, he has still the one. In the next lane across from him is number 85S, Steve Schobert from Pronex. Steve Schobert. In lane #3, number 67, Anthony Sewell from the Murray team. Anthony Sewell in lane #3. Lane #4, number 25, Harry Leary from the Diamondback team, the legendary Harry Leary. Next to Harry Leary, another teammate, number 3X, Eddie King in lane #5, Eddie King. Next to Eddie King in lane #6, Tommy Brackens, who's number 5, Tommy Brackens on the Powerlight team. And then in the next two lanes, we have the Patterson brothers. In lane #7 is Brian Patterson, and in lane #8 is Brent Patterson, number 6. So that's the lineup for our first semi-main here, and the gate is up, and these pros will be ready to crank it out here in any second.
There's not a slow one in the bunch here, David.
We've talked earlier about the track, about the gate. The whole shot here is very important. Each of these pro mains will run twice, these semi-mains. They will run twice. and we will combine the points as we talked about on the transfer system to see who will go to the main event.
We will only take the top 4 from each division.
Only the top 4.
The gate is down.
The gate is dropping. A little bit of trouble with Brackens, but Stu Thompson on the inside is holding his number 1 position, matching his number 1 plate. He goes over the first turn, heading for the double jumps. He clears both double jumps, and it's Eddie King breathing him down his neck.
Thompson, King pulling up second. Brian Patterson in third. Anthony Sewell coming up on the outside. It's still Stu Thompson. Brent Patterson. Brian Patterson now moves into third spot.
Thompson into the lead still, untouched all the way through as he goes over the tabletops. The Patterson brothers follow, and it looks like Eddie King managed to squeak by with a 4th place finish. So a very quick semi-main here. Stu Thompson definitely holding well through there, maintaining his number 1 lane position, using it to his advantage all the way through, finishing up.
A Pro Division 2 semi number 1. Let's set the gate for you. In lane number 1, number 93, Bob Madrano. Lane number 2, number 29, Brian Barlow. Lane number 3, number 8, Scott Clark. Lane number 4, number 51, Greg Grubbs, riding for Jag BMX. Number 73 in lane number 5, Pete Lonkarovich. Number 15 for the Kuwahara team in lane number 6 is Clint Miller. Lane number 7, number 9, Eric Roop, riding for Profile. And on the outside gate position, GT BMX's Greg Hill, number 3.
All right, that's our lineup for division number 2 in this semi. This is their first round of this semi. Again, in the Pro Spectacular Series, each semi-main goes 2 rounds. We take the top 4 after the 2-round points are combined. A face to watch in this one, obviously, Eric Roop, who did very well out of Miami. Greg Grubbs also doing well down there in the very first stop on our super circuit. And the gate is up, and it is about to drop. Greg Hill in lane number 8. We'll see what lane position does. It's dead even coming off the first jump. Number 73 making headway, Pete Lonkarovich. And this Lonkarovich over the first turn, followed by number 9.
That's Eric Roop. Lonkarovich, Roop, and Hill coming down into the bowl.
Oh, a bit of an endo. A bit of an endo in the turn.
Lonkarovich, Roop, Madrano, Hill is trying to make a move from 4th to 3rd. It's Lonkarovich, Roop, Madrano, and Hill, the top 4 positions.
So Greg Hill coming out, starting from the number 8th position. The rider who went down, Greg Hill finishing 4th. The rider that went down, number 29, Brian Barlow, taking a bad spill in the second turn, the first hairpin berm. The next race will be the second round of our Pro Division. It will be Division number 1, semi-round number 2, and that'll be up in just a few minutes. We've got a couple intermediary races here before we get back to the semi-pro action. Right now, though, Tony, let's talk about our first 2 divisions. Division number 1 and Division number 2.
As I said before, there is not a slow one in the bunch. We've got really the cream of the crop in here. I wouldn't want to be riding in either one of these. Stu Thompson. Stu won the first Moto Main in Miami, had some bad luck, went down in the second one, got a flat tire while leading the third one. He's back to show people why he's got that number 1 on his bike. Brent Patterson taking a 2nd place in that first division moto. Brian Patterson, the Miami winner, taking a 3rd, and Eddie King, BMX Action's top pick, taking a 4th in that Division 1 Semi-1.
Okay, let's take another look at that last race here, the Division number 2, which was the semi-main. We've got 2 divisions here. This is the 2nd division, the second race that we just saw. And we had a spill halfway through this race in turn number 1, but we can see here at the gate our riders in position. Greg Hill, you can see on the far lane number 8 on the far left in the bright yellow on the GT team. All of these racers up. The pedal dropped out of the hole shot. It was Pete Lonkarovich.
Pete Lonkarovich comes from the middle of the gate there, gets an excellent start. Hill does his best on the outside, but Lonkarovich really does get the hole shot.
Here comes Lonkarovich over the first turn, kind of a drop-off turn, and heading for the double jump. Lonkarovich sets up and cleared both of them. And here in the second turn, you can see number 29 go down, Brian Barlow.
Looks like he clipped the back wheel of another bike. Meanwhile, Lonkarovich is wheeling away with it. Coming over into the final turn, Roop is in second. Greg Hill trying to make a move on the outside, but pulls up a little bit short coming over the tabletop towards the end of it.
So the way it finished, Pete Lonkarovich, who got the hole shot over the first jump, managed to hang on. It was Eric Roop, who did exceptionally well down in Miami, finishing second. Bob Madrano was third, and Greg Hill was 4th. And those are our big figures here for the Division number 2 first semi. Tony, we'll have more racing action when we come back for the second round of our semis. We'll be back to division number 1, the division in which Stu Thompson took first place, right after this message.
New strawberry honeycomb's gonna go over big.
Strawberry honeycomb, here it comes.
Wow!
Big strawberry taste, big honeycomb fun.
Giant strawberries! What's going on?
Big strawberry news from Honeycomb. Natural strawberry flavor.
Strawberry!
Awesome crunch.
Big strawberry taste, big honeycomb fun.
New strawberry honeycomb cereal. Part of this nutritious breakfast.
The Radical BMXer starts with the awesome frame set that keeps him on the jagged edge. Jag BMX World Championship Racing Frame Set. For flat-out speed and awesome fork tab design to keep you out front. And Jag's own rear dropout that steadies the ride. The awesome beginning. Jag BMX Midi Pro Model or 24-inch cruiser frame set. Jag BMX, the World Championship Racing Frame Set.
With us is the winner of the very first pro semi-main in Division 1, Stu Thompson. Stu, you had the number 1 lane position, and it was a very tough heat. You managed to get the whole shot. We've got the race here, and I'd like, if you would, to kind of go back play-by-play with us here as we come off the very first jump.
Okay, I had the inside, and it's not a good position in this track because the track narrows down. And if anybody gets on the outside of you and gets a good start, they're going to close you off real fast. So I had to concentrate on watching the lights, getting a good start, and trying not to tangle with any riders on my outside.
Now, how about this double jump coming up here? Is that an easy jump to take both?
No, it's not, because you're still trying to maneuver from coming off this drop-off turn, and you don't have enough pedals to quite get in there and clear the whole thing. As you can see on that jump, I landed on the back side of the jump, and I didn't quite clear the whole thing. But I took it as smooth as I could, and I didn't want to speed jump it, as we call, by pedaling over both. I just want to get over in a clean line and try not to see any riders coming up on my inside.
On this wraparound turn here, do you need to keep a kind of a medium line? Or do you get hung out to dry if you go too high?
Yeah, if you go too high in the beginning, someone will come up underneath you. What I'm trying to do is I try to hang close to these styrofoam markers and then drift wide as I reach the apex of the turn and come out of it. I'll start to drift wide.
We're dropping into the bowl here. Any special secret getting through this part?
Well, it's kind of flat on the inside, so you have to try to get away from the flat part and go into the berm. And then you just start to widen your turn and pedal up as high as you can and use the berm so you don't slide out. And you just hit this double jump. It's really bumpy, and it can throw your bike in all kinds of different ways if you don't watch which way you hit it. I just kind of skimmed over both of them, went in the inside of this corner here, and just started torquing as hard as I could go.
Were you tempted to look back?
Not at this time, no.
Did you know it was close?
I knew there was riders behind me. I usually go by shadows. If I can see a shadow on either side of me, then I know someone's pretty close.
Well, you seem like you came
off. Yeah, right there I'm looking back because I stick my head down all the way to my chest, and I look down beside me. I didn't see anybody, so I just was happy.
Okay. I got one question.